Hey everyone, and welcome back to Small Screen Sagas. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'll be talking about from Season 2, Episode 3, entitled Tether. A great episode. A really, really good episode. I enjoyed watching it again. I think this was my third time now watching, and I'm looking forward to talking about the episode, mainly so I can go watch Episode 4, which came out yesterday. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's get into it. We'll keep the same format as always. So Bad Boy Randall, that's what I'm going to call him. His name is Randall, but I'm going to call him Bad Boy Randall. He's the guy that got threw up on by Elgin and also tried to take Kenny hostage. Well, he did take Kenny hostage, and, you know, Donna had to bop him upside the head real quick, I believe, with the gun. So we meet Randall. He has his own gun. He's traveling with his own gun, rifle. It's in the bottom of the bus. And he's getting it out, and he's fussing with Donna. Donna's not listening. He's not listening to Donna, saying, no, these are the rules. Boyd comes and has to lay it down. And he goes, hey, you want to take your rifle that bad? Go take it, and you go live off in the woods, because you can't stay here. You can't stay in the houses. You can't get protection. So either you stay here, you follow the rules, and residents do not carry guns, or if you want your gun that bad, take it and see how it fares out in the woods. And Randall's an idiot, but he's not a complete idiot. He's not like 100% idiot. So he did the smart thing, and, you know, he might have called Boyd an asshole, but he took option number 2, which is stay in town without his gun, which we already told you, Randall. They told you before. The guns won't help you. You might kill a human, big whoop at this point. It's not going to hurt the real threat, which is the monsters. Next, we have Victor. Victor is back. He is pissed, and rightfully so. So Victor goes to his room. It's a disheveled mess. Now, part of me is kind of judging Jade, but Jade did think he was dead. But Ethan was like, yo, he's not dead. He's on his part of the quest. But Victor comes back to his room. I mean, even the monsters, when they came and took over Colony House, they didn't do all that to his room. Like, get it together, Jade. If the monsters can come in, kill a bunch of people, and Victor's room was left intact, you didn't have to do all that. But Victor is saying something's missing. He's pissed. He said something's missing. I thought it was his lunchbox because I didn't see that quite right away. But of all things, it's a violin. It could have been a viola, but let's just call it a violin. And he's pissed that Jade has it and asked for it back. And Jade was like, let me play it a little bit longer. We don't have that much entertainment out here. No, but Victor was like, no, fuck you. Like, you went in my room, took my stuff, left my room a mess? No. And that's when Jade is like, well, I'm glad I saw you anyways. I thought you were dead. And he says, can you help me out with this? I keep seeing this symbol. And then I see scary shit right afterwards. You have to know what this symbol means. And he shows Victor the symbol, and he shows the picture, the Polaroid of Victor as a kid. And he's like, can you tell me what this symbol means? Now, one thing I thought he asked that was kind of important, Jade might not even realize this, or maybe we're not even thinking about this, because he goes, dang, like, after all this time, don't you want to go home? But I don't think Jade realizes the point he's making. Yes, after all this time, doesn't he want to go home? After all this time, maybe this is Victor's home. There's people that live in crazy situations, crazy conditions all the time, and that's still home for them. And not saying this is the dream life for Victor, but if he's been here for 40 years, this is all he knows. And if you guys treat him the way you treat him, everyone kind of like writes him off. Why would he want to go somewhere else where there's a whole bunch of people that can write him off versus the 50 people that live in town? So I'm not necessarily saying Victor wants to stay, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't think it's as terrible as everyone else. He just knows the rules. Like, okay, these are the rules. You got to be in at night. Da-da-da. Those are the rules. I can follow those rules. And, you know, you see how he acts when he sees the boy in white. He's not scared. He's excited to see him. He said he's a friend. So I think Victor has a very different perception or relationship with this town than other people do. But either way, he tells Jade, leave him alone, don't go through his stuff again, and just stop bothering him. So we get Ellis and Fatima. We first see Fatima, now she is Elgin's proxy, and it's a very different personality or type of Fatima that we're meeting when she's meeting and showing Elgin around versus when we met her and she was showing Julie around. You know, her spirits are very low. She doesn't have that energy or anything like that. And she's like, I'm your proxy. I've been here for a year. Like, girl, you're not even trying to sell him on this place. Luckily, Elgin has his own little secrets, or he's not really keeping his secret, but he definitely isn't telling them everything he knows. He's not telling Fatima. He hasn't told anyone yet exactly what all he knows. But she goes, hey, you're the one that had the dream about this place. And he's like, yeah. And he just says it was a dream. But I have to see this dream, because when he woke up on that bus, his reaction was more than, oh my gosh, I had a dream of this place. Unless it was a very detailed dream. Unless his dream was like a year, even though it was only like a 15-minute dream, where he actually experienced living in this place in this dream, because he was freaked out. He asked her if there's a lake or a pond nearby, and she shows him the Brundles. He does ask it why they call it that, and she said, I don't know, they've always called it that. So I do wonder if there's a story behind that. He asked, like, have you guys talked about it? Have you guys compared notes? And Fatima's like, yes, they've obsessed over it. People have compared. Nothing ever changes. Nothing comes from it. It just makes them go crazy. It doesn't lead to anything. And I think they had that part in the show because we're all probably wondering, why aren't they telling each other stuff? Like Victor and everything that he knows. Jade, he tried to tell Victor and Ethan. And then he did try to tell Jim. But Boyd keeping his secrets. A lot of people keep secrets. Sarah had her secrets. She only told her brother partial. She told Father Khatri a little bit more and told Boyd a little bit as well. But I like that they had that conversation, because that's something we've probably all been saying. Like, you guys need to be telling each other everything. But you can't be hysterical when you're telling it. You got to say it in a calm manner. Like, I have something to tell you guys. This is what happened to me. Can you give me a few minutes of your time and just listen to everything I have to say without interruption? You got to do it like that. But later on, Ellis and Fatima meet. She's still looking down, and he says, will you marry me? Will you marry me now? After everything that happened with what he just saw happen with Kelly, and thinking like one day we'll get home. He's like, I know we said we'll wait till we get home. Let's not wait. I don't want to wait any longer. I want to marry you now. And I wonder if Ellis did this because he doesn't think they're ever going to get home. Like, if we wait to get married till we get home, we'll probably never get married because we're going to be stuck here forever. At least that's kind of what I thought. It could be him seeing Kelly just die brutally right in front of his eyes made him say, I want to make Fatima my wife today or tomorrow, very soon. But I have a feeling it's because he thinks, like, we're not getting home. Might as well start living my life. Like, for real, for real. Just hopefully him and Fatima don't, like, decide this is our life. Let's go ahead and have a baby. I don't know what would happen if someone gets pregnant in this town. Like, I don't want to think about that. Like, that would be a very unhappy pregnancy, birth, and then, like, raising your child there. Just, it would be wrong. It would be so sad. And then we have Julie and Tabitha. So they're at the diner. Everyone's kind of come home. They've all met up. They've given each other their hugs, her and Jim and Julie and everyone. But they haven't actually talked about their night apart. Julie spent the night apart. Ethan was in the colony house. God forbid what he saw. I don't know. And, you know, Jim was on his thing. He was crushed. And then Tabitha was on her quest with Victor. So they're at the diner. She's feeling really sad, and she goes and talks to Miss Lou. Pretty much says everything we had was in that house. We don't have anything anymore. We barely had anything when we got here, and then we have less of anything now. And that's when Mrs. Lou says, hey, you guys stay at my house. Us moms, we mother together. We stick together. We help each other out. And I like that. And then we see later on them actually going through like all the clothes from the storage, you know, that's kept at the diner. So I like they're picking stuff out. Tabitha doesn't care what it looks like. Julie's like, this has holes. Tabitha like, if it fits, it fits. Okay. It's no different than thrift shopping. And Julie was like, it's kind of different. Like when you're at the thrift store, you're just thinking, okay, these are clothes that someone else didn't want. You're not necessarily thinking these are clothes of someone that has died. Doesn't mean they haven't died. Yeah, you probably pick out clothes all the time from someone who has died. But the knowledge of it, knowing for sure these are clothes of dead people, it would freak you out. It'd be weird if this is like the thrift store you go to where all these people have died. These are clothes their families given away. Like, it's too personal of a story. You don't know all that when you're shopping at a thrift store. You don't know what the circumstances are to how these items ended up here. And in our heads, we would just like to think the person didn't want it anymore. Our minds don't go deep, dark, and be like, this person died. They were tragically killed. No, we don't go that far. But as they're leaving the thrift store or whatever, Tabitha sees 2 girl monsters, similar to the girl that she saw in the cave with Victor. So she freaks out, stares, and tries to kind of play it off. But Julie was not letting her have it. Julie's like, tell me what you saw. I know you saw something. What was it? Literally, I thought you were just dead. I thought Dad was probably going to get killed that night. And I was going to be a 16-year-old mother to my younger brother. Like, I was going to have to raise him on my own. I was freaking out. Please tell me what is going on, what you saw. And Tabitha tells her the story of how she used to see Thomas, the baby brother that died. After he died, she would sometimes hear him crying, or occasionally she would just see him for a minute. And it always felt peaceful. And she said, I saw 2 children this time, but it did not feel peaceful. All right, Tabitha, that's like half of a truth. Like, 2 children, that's kind of putting it lightly. You saw 2 children monsters. There's a difference. Because if someone was like, oh, I saw 2 children and it kind of scared me, I in my head, like, why did the kids scare you? Like, what were they doing? They're kids. You didn't say 2 kid monsters. There's a very big difference, Tabitha. Like, this is almost a lie in this case, in my opinion. But then cut to later on in the day, Tabitha's talking to Ethan. He's out there playing on the porch, building with some blocks he said Miss Lou had in storage. And as he's building it, he's like, oh, I think I figured it out. And he puts the ball on top. Tabitha freaks, rightfully so. I'm actually kind of freaking out because this building block toy that Ethan's playing with is exactly like the toy that she saw in the monster's dungeon. And then, of course, just then she sees the 2 monster girls staring right there at her again. And she's like, Ethan, we got to get inside. We got to get inside. And she's freaking out. The reason why I'm also freaking out is because the other day I was walking at the park. I'm going to try to post the picture online. But we saw like a little building block as well that looked very similar to the one Ethan's playing with. So I took a picture of it and I was like, this is fun. Like, this looks like the one Ethan was playing with. And my husband's like, don't be taking no pictures of that. I'm like, no, it looks cool. But it might give me bad buju or juju or whatever the word is, But I did take a picture of it. So I'll post it online for y'all to see. It's not the exact, but it's similar. And it was at the park. So we'll see. But yeah, so her now seeing these monster girls, that's scary. Especially because they're not there and no one else is seeing it. Hopefully she tells Jim in a calm manner. Like when you're all emotional, people are so busy to get you to calm down. They're not paying attention to exactly what you're saying any longer. Or if they are, they're just now thinking you're hysterical, So hopefully she tells Jim in a calm manner, like, let me tell you exactly what took place after I fell down and go from there and see if Jim or somebody will listen to her, because that's really scary if you could just see them at any time. And will she see them at night inside her house, or will she only see them outside during the day? So hopefully she doesn't see them at night, because then she'll never have peace. I mean, she'll never have peace. I don't know. It's going to be scary. She'll never have peace if she's walking around in the day and she sees them. That's scary. Then we have Christy and Mariel. So they're sitting here talking. Mariel's looking at Christy's rock, and Christy tells her, like, hey, I used to hold that rock like the first few weeks I was here since you painted it for me, and just to think of you, and the paint probably came off because my hands were sweating from holding it for so long. And Mariel's still not opening up. I mean, she knows that Christy's here against her consent. She's here now against her consent, but I think she's still sort of confused. It hasn't really settled in on the situation. And she's like, I'm so confused. Maybe I should go stay with the other best people, because I'm sitting here talking to you with the rock right here that was literally sitting on your nightstand back at home. So I couldn't tell from that if she's saying that since you left, since you disappeared, this rock was still here at your house and now it's here in this place. So it's at two places at once. How is that possible? Or she means, I remember seeing this rock here or at your house before, and now you have it here. So I couldn't really tell what she was saying exactly in that moment. But since we know about that bracelet that Tabitha made for Jim a long time ago, and they lost it a long time ago when Julie was born, and now it's here in this place, it's very well possible that that bracelet's still lost in wherever it is, and then it's also here. So same thing with the rock. It's possible that it is in two places at once, which, yeah, you're asking how's that possible, but nothing in this world is possible, and it's still happening. So, but then Kenny calls Christy away, and says, hey, there's an emergency. She runs off before they can kind of continue that conversation, and that's when she sees Kelly. And she has to make that decision. Well, she says she's pretty much dead. She only probably has hours or days to live. Obviously not days out there, because at night, those monsters are probably just going to brutally kill her if they leave her out another night. And under normal circumstances, this type of surgery would take 15 hours. And clearly they don't have the tools, or I don't even know if Christy has the skill set to do a surgery, even if they had time. I mean, we know she was in medical school. She was like a third-year medical student, but she hasn't gone to like the surgery part. I think that's like another section or an additional education to be like a surgeon. So they have to make the decision to pull the rod out. And just before they do, Kelly all of a sudden starts to see something. She's like, what is that? And like, even talking about it right now by myself, I'm getting scared just because it was such a creepy, crazy scene. Like my arms on my hair is standing up because it's just creepy to talk about, because she sees something and she starts having this pain of some sort, similar to like what we used to see Sarah get when she would start screaming and hollering and everything. So now we see Kelly going through it, and that's when Boyd shows up, and he does try to get them to leave. He's like, I don't want you guys to be here for this. And I like when Christy was like, Boyd was like, Christy, I'm not asking, I'm telling you. And Christy's like, no, I'm telling you, I'm not going. Like, you're not going to be able to pull the sheriff card here. This is my patient. I was trained to stay with my patient even when shit gets tough. Even when I have to literally watch them die. That's what I was trained for. If we can't save them, I can't just walk away. So Boyd pulls it out. It was very traumatizing for all of them involved. I mean, that's, when Ellis leaves and asks Fatima, let's get married now. Kenny is just sad and depressed. And now Christy goes back to her girl and she's like, please don't leave. Like she's having a tough time. And it's these characters that have been so strong since season 1. Now we're seeing slowly break down. We got Fatima, we got Donna, we got Boyd, Kenny, now Christy. I mean, so many of them are breaking down and it's so hard to watch. Very, very troubling. Now, I do want to bring up, since she did start screaming Kelly right before Boyd got there, like, was she screaming from Boyd? I mean, she didn't even see Boyd, so I don't want to blame Boyd, but just now with those things in his arms, who knows if he gets close to someone, like he might be innocent. I mean, he's obviously innocent. He didn't do anything, even if that was if she started screaming due to him being nearby. But I was wondering, like, hey, could this have anything to do with those worms in Boyd's arm? And speaking of Boyd, once he got home, he immediately checks his arm, makes sure there's nothing in it. It looks back to normal. So I think he's hoping he was either just tripping or whatever was there is gone now. But he's talking to Ellis, and Ellis is trying to ask for what the full story is. He can tell Boyd is not telling him much, because Boyd's just like, yeah, she pushed me in the tree, and then cut to I was over here, and I somehow made it back home. I don't know where Sarah is. I don't know if she's alive. And I'm like, Ellis, I'm not telling Ellis. I'm like, Boyd, just tell him the truth. He's just like Julie begged her mom for the truth, and she gave her a little snippet of it. She gave her partial truth. Boyd didn't give Ellis anything. And it almost, to me, put a damper back on this relationship that they're slowly mending. But luckily for Boyd, Ellis has a lot of other stuff on his mind, and that's why he was so upset, and that's why he was pressuring or pushing for Boyd to tell him everything, because now he feels like we do need to leave because Fatima is not okay. She's starting to break down. He saw this happen with his mom, and in this case, Boyd is telling him, stay close to her. Be that person that she knows will always be there. So she has something to hold on to while she's here. And I think that was great advice, especially after we saw that flashback with Boyd and Ellis was begging Boyd to stay for his mom. And ultimately, she had that breakdown. And I think Ellis is worried that something similar or worse could happen to Fatima. Maybe Fatima may next time try to go outside and get captured by the monster. So hopefully he does take Boyd's advice and just stays close with Fatima while she's going through this tough time right now. And but Boyd does go back to his wife's grave and says guess who's getting married, Ellis. But he also questions what he saw that night in the woods. He's like, am I asleep? Maybe I'm in a hospital right now and you and Ellis are praying over me and hoping I wake up any moment. Because how could a man in this town who's never met her, he's talking about Martin, how would he know your name? Let alone, how would he know what you were thinking on the day that you died, which was everyone's just asleep. We need to wake up. So that tells me that Boyd knows what he went through was real. He knows it wasn't a dream or a nightmare. He knows what he experienced. And this is the person he feels he can talk to. But then after everything that went down with Kelly, to us, it just looked like Boyd had to make a hard decision and take that rod out of Kelly. But after finding out her name, Kelly, and then finding out her boyfriend's name was Brian, who the monsters killed, he goes and tells Donna. He tells him about the story when he was at war and the IED blew a car up. Second car got hit. Young guy crying in his arms, begging and pleading, didn't want to die. And his name was Corporal Brian Kelly. And that was the first time someone died. And he's like, well, it's the first time someone died and that he saw someone die. But he's like, this is too much of a coincidence that his name was Brian Kelly. And then today I meet a Kelly whose boyfriend's name was Brian. I'm getting chills once again. Because I would be like, no, I'm going to go crazy at this point. I would have to tell everything. Let me tell you everything that just happened in these last 24 hours to me. Please tell me I'm not going crazy. And Donna does say, well, what happened in the forest? But he doesn't want to go further. And she's like, you know what? You don't got to tell me. You don't got to tell me, but you got to keep your shit together. Because I just got people killed last night. And I need you to be in charge and get these people home and keep these people safe. And she's like, I don't know how much more I can take it. So they're both telling each other, they're breaking down. Everyone is breaking down. All these strong people are breaking down. Now, I do want to know why Donna felt she got those people killed. Because, yes, did it cause some chaos when she shot the tire? Yeah, but they weren't listening. So those people running off and da-da-da. At the same time, if someone shot, I always tell my kids, if something's going on, you get away from that situation. If there's drama, someone's arguing, don't stand by to listen. You get away. So in this case, I'm all for the people who ran because she had a gun. And yeah, I would probably run. We're not staying to listen. You had a gun. You blowing out the tires. I wouldn't have stayed to listen. On the other hand, I am telling them they should have listened. If you heard you're going to die overnight, maybe you should have stopped and listened. But I don't blame Donna for those people dying. Just like Boyd said to Ellis earlier, this place will not win. I'm going to say that to Donna. Don't let this place win. It was the place's fault, the town's fault, why those people were dead, not you. But yeah, great episode. Can't wait to watch the new one that just came on Sunday, episode 4. Doing my best to avoid any spoilers so I can just finish this one and then watch episode 4. So I'm excited for that. If you guys want to be a part of the podcast, hit me up. You can send an audio. You can send an email. If you send an audio, keep it maybe 2 minutes or less. And if you want to send in an email, send in whatever theories or things that you notice, whatever you got. I would love to hear from you. host@theverdictsin.com. That's HOST@theverdictsin.com. Until then, I'm Nicole. Have a good one. Bye.